Today we're going to be looking at cards that got downgraded because of power creep. Here are the rules. We got to talk about a card that entered a format that ended up like basically downgrading other cards underneath it. A great example in Modern was Counterspell. I mean, I wanted Counterspell for the longest time because before Counterspell we had just a bunch of garbage. What did we run? We ran Mana Leak, is now like almost nobody plays this card anymore. Before we played Mana Leak, we played sometime Dovin's Veto. So sometimes we still play this card, but it's not nearly as common. Thought isn't that the only example? No, there's more examples. Where are all the stupid 2-mana counterspells that we used to run? Unified Will by some well, like Merfolk, for example. Some blue decks playing with creatures. I want a Mana Leak alt art for Farfetched. Remand. That was a big one. Man, everyone used to use that card. That was a combo. That was like both combo deck, tempo deck. Everyone wanted to run Remand. But now it's almost like not really particularly important because you would just rather outright counter the stupid spell in the first place. Logic Knot. That's what I was waiting for. Logic Knot. I had a brain knot in my head. Man, we used to play this card. Blue X. Delve. Counter target spell unless its controller pays X. Now I'm sure there are examples in other formats like Commander where there was a card that was super popular, but I want, like, we're trying to go for cards that used to be played super often and then immediately got replaced by another one. Another one is Path to Exile. What replaced it? Actually, we have a lot of cards that replaced it, like Solitude. Okay, cards like Solitude, Prismatic Ending, and even March of Otherworldly Light. It's crazy that these cards are very new. I mean, within a year of each other, and they completely replaced Path to Exile, which was like just a staple of Modern for eternity. Now, this card does still see play, so it's not obsolete, but it's been downgraded big time. Control decks have way more things, way more options to exile your creatures, but not only your creatures, also your artifacts, your enchantments. Is this exile target? You can sometimes hit lands. This thing hits the Inkmoth Nexus all the same. It slices it, dices it. It will also exile the Inkmoth Nexus. A lot of cards like that. Young Pyromancer versus the new card from the Bro set. I don't know what that card is. If anyone knows, we could talk about it. Although, like, Young Pyromancer died, like, years ago. So they just printed a new Young Pyromancer. I don't know if it's really all that relevant. This Logic Knot. Oh my god, that's so 2017. And so, yeah, very 2017, 2016. Did Sarah Angel force things to power creep? I don't know. I don't know if Sarah Angel was ever, like, really replaced by anything in its era, Sarah Angel. I mean, we did get better Sarah Angels over time, but, you know, not really. Prismatic Ending got... Oh, yeah! That one also! And then... so the power creep. Prismatic Ending. That's so funny, and it's pretty true. Prismatic Ending got downgraded. So we just talked about how Prismatic Ending ate up a lot of the market share for Path to Exile, because this thing could not only deal with 1-drops on turn 1, but also do it in such a way that your opponent doesn't get any lands. So you could deal with the early game, and you can sort of deal with the late game if you're playing with the Triomes. But then if you're playing with the Triomes, you might as well just play with Leyline Binding. A multi-format all-star. Don't leave your home without your Leyline Binding. Sees play in Pioneer, sees play in Modern. Incredible card. Because it just exiles anything. Enters the battlefield. Exile target non-land permanent opponent controls until Leyline Binding leaves the battlefield. And how often can you destroy enchantments? It's got Flash. It's a 6-mana Flash card. Which is not true. It's more like, you know, 1 or 2 mana. If you got the right lands onto the battlefield. Might of Volcroza, what did it replace? You gotta give the card. You gotta give the card that's the upgrade, and then the card that's the downgrade. The Untrained Ear. I joined a little late and Counterspell was on the screen. Has that been grounded yet? No, Counterspell is what downgraded a ton of other cards. Jace versus Oko? I don't think those are comparable. Oh, but you know what is comparable? Jace? Jace the Mind Sculptor. Because everyone thought, oh my god. Everyone thought that Jace the Mind Sculptor was going to take over Modern when it got unbanned. And it did see a lot of play. A lot of people started playing their Jaces. But actually, Teferi, Time Raveler. No, sorry, not Teferi, Time Raveler. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Really stole the show. So the moment we got Teferi Heroes de Dominaria. No, I want Teferi Hero of Dominaria. Teferi Hero of Dominaria. Once this hit the scene, people started playing like 1 Jace instead of 3 to 4. But you know, the number of Jaces in control decks went super way down. And you don't even always see them in those decks anymore anyway. So Teferi Hero Dominaria is actually one of the best, probably the best controlled planeswalker of all time. I'm perpetually upset I can't find my second copy of Jace. You have two, wait, you have 2 Jaces? Wrath of God. Oh yeah, that's true. Wrath of God was a staple of control decks for years. If we talk about the entire history of Magic the Gathering, Wrath of God was it. Sometimes, what was the other one? Not Damnation. The White Damnation. Whatever, who cares? Supreme Verdict is what took its place. And still has. I mean, this is the quintessential counterspell. Nobody's allowed to you know, this is like screwing? It's screwing the, like, fairies and merfolk. All the blue tribal decks. Oh, you got counterspells? Nuh-uh-uh, you can't counter this. Before they could. I mean, that was the value of playing something like merfolk. I mean, you want a board wipe? Okay, I can counterspell this thing. Force of Will, Daze, Counterspell, Spell Pierce. No, you can't even do that anymore. All tribes must get wiped out. It was a dark day for the fairies players, a very dark day. Day of Judgment, that's what I was thinking of. Day of Judgment. This is more of a show to talk about. Day of Judge. What am I missing here? This is more of a show to talk about the old, you know, the old dying or dead cards. So yeah, Day of Judgment got downgraded. Actually, I mean, this was just like more of a standard card, but Wrath of God was easily multi-format all-star. I mean, when you got into the game, you wanted a board wipe, you go get your Wrath of Gods. And now, these days, kids don't know what Wrath of God does. I mean, it has an advantage, it can't be regenerated. I guess one day they'll make a Supreme Verdict, destroy all creatures, they can't be regenerated either. It'll just be triple white or something. Dismember replaced by Fatal Push? Is that true? I don't think there was a replacement to Fatal Push, to be honest. I think Fatal Push was its own thing. Like, if you did, you either ran Dismember or you didn't. Delver of Secrets and Dragon Rage. That's true. Okay, so Delver of Secrets. Like, even in Modern, this saw some niche play. This card, what used to be like the tempo card of all formats, and now Dragon Rage Channeler is just a much better card. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Not to mention Delver of Secrets still sees play, but the deal is if you want to make a Delver of Secrets deck, you might as well start with the red. You start with the red and you work your way down. There's no point like, this is clunky. You need like a way of manipulating the top of your deck to flip this thing into an insectile aberration. At best, it's only a 3-2. This thing's a 3-3. Sure, it can't block, but you weren't planning on blocking anyway with this damn thing. And it still sculpts the top of your library. Okay, we got Hour of Revelation, a strict upgrade to Planar Cleansing. Hour of Revelation. This must be a commander thing. Oh, Hour of Revelation. White, white, white. 3 generic sorcery. This spell costs 3 less to cast if there are 10 or more non-land permanents on the battlefield. Destroy all non-land permanents. Costs 3 less to cast. So for 3 mana, you blow everything up. 10 permanents, what is that? Just like everyone has 2 lands and 1 creature? That's good enough. And in the past, it was planar cleansing. Planar cleansing. Gotta be nice. Gotta keep that plane nice and clean. When you're done your plane, you gotta put it through the dishwasher. Destroy all non-land permanents. So which one's more expensive? This one is 25 cents. This one is also 25 cents. Hats off to the planar cleansing. I do wish they would make more only color pips cards and higher values with crazy abilities. What I would like them to do is to have more cards. Like, if the card is going to have crazy abilities, make it hard to cast. These days, it's like, you know, like Uro, it's just blue. Oh, I guess that's sort of hard. They made the escape green, blue. But there's like a lot of cards that's just like blue and a black and 4 generic, and it does all these things. As if it's nothing. Stormwing Entity got replaced. You could make that argument, actually. You could. So we got the Murktide Regent, the big baddie, in Legacy and Modern. And there was some time where Stormwing Entity was like a big card. I wouldn't say in Legacy, but in Modern it was, especially in the Prowess decks. It was like a 5 mana card, so it got around, for example, it got around Fatal Push all pretty well. And it costs like 1 blue, 2 less to cast if you cast an instant or sorcery this turn. And it scries 2 and enters the battlefield. And it's a flyer. And it has prowess. So good luck bolting it, because I just have to play a random card and boom, it's gone. Shrunnator says, Tameo Safekeeping replaces blood. Really? Aren't they like a little bit different? Tameo's Safekeeping. Target permanent you control gains hexproof. They are not the same card, Shrutnator. Blossoming Defense pumps up the creature. Or I should say, oh, you know what? Okay, I have a question. In what deck, actually? Maybe this, are you talking about, like, in Commander? Because maybe this is better in Commander. The creature is indestructible and it's hexproof. But, actually, I was moving to my Modern mind. In Modern, this was played a lot in Infect, and part of the value of Blossoming Defense is because it buffs the creature up. But I actually have no idea how big of a card this was in Commander, if it was a big card at all. But maybe this did. I don't know. Like, I mean, indestructible is not nothing. I mean, Blossoming Defense doesn't protect you from Supreme Verdict, for example. Has anyone mentioned Colossal Dreadmaw yet? No, but it didn't replace anything. I'm going to give you the buzzer. I'm going to buzz you big time. Ponder and Preordain? Like, at what point? I mean, I guess so. Preordain. This is a card that got replaced by Ponder. What came first? I guess this did come first. No. I want to say Ponder came first. Like, Ponder has been around for forever. Like, this only came around M11, right? I think Ponder came, I'm pretty sure Lorwyn is before M11, I think. It's Chungus is like, I'm still happy to play Path to Exile anyway. Go for it. You play what makes you happy. Isn't that what it's all about in the end? And then me in the tournament, I'm like, okay, I'm going to play what wins. I replaced Blossoming with Tameo in Druid. Oh! Not a bad call. Okay, okay. So there's a lot of validity to this Tameo Safekeeping. It actually keeps safe a lot of stuff. So in the Devoted Druid decks, yeah, so Tameo Safekeeping would be better. Alright, depending on the matchup, Tameo Safekeeping out-muscled Blossoming Defense for some market share in that sideboard. Alright, you heard the music, right? You know what that means. It means we're going to talk about our sponsors, the Lord and Savior FusionGamingOnline.com. What is the deal of the week this week? Because if you want to support the channel, you buy from FusionGamingOnline.com. You hear from me. Deal of the week, save 15% off all Battle for Baldur's Gate singles. A lot of Commander cards in there. I don't actually know a single Baldur's Gate card. I guess what, the Sea of Clouds? There, I know some cards now. But if 15% off is not enough for you, you know what you can do. You can use coupon code Nikachu for an additional 5% off all your purchases. You save even more money. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, if I can get it up. There we go. Also my favorite place to rent Magic cards online. Because I rent the decks, I don't have to own them. You get to play with as many decks. You know, this is what they have here. Here's their promotional material. You play more decks. Some of you can't stick to one deck. You get bored very easily. You just gotta try something new. You know, one day you want to play Burn, one day you want to play Control, another day you want to play Combo. That's what you do. You rent the decks with Mana Traders. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_WS2. Alright, back to the downgraded Magic cards. Super downgraded. Yeah, thanks, Fusion Gaming Online. Mana Traders! Who said people with ADD can't play TCG? No, Mana Traders are there for your ADHD and everything. Hullbreaker Horror good replacer for most blue control finishers? Oh! Hullbreaker Horror. But, like, what is your blue control finisher? So the show isn't about this. Which one's the real one? This is the arena one? There we go. Great blue control finish. Yeah, that's true. Flash. Can't be countered. Whenever you cast a spell, choose one. Return target spell you don't control to its owner's hand. So they can play something uncounterable. Doesn't matter. You play a spell and boing! Goes right back. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. That's really nasty. But the show isn't about the upgrade. The show is about what it replaced. What did people used to play? Tidespout Tyrant? Some random Tidespout Tyrant. We're looking at the good old days. There we go. Tidespout Tyrant. Blue, blue, blue. 5 generic for a 5/5 flyer. This is like what you pick in Cube. Whenever you play a spell, return target permanent to its owner's hand. Oh yeah, this is like basically the same thing, right? Return target spell. Sorry, return target permanent. And then this one was like return target non-land permanent. Non-land. Oh, boo. Where's like a booing sound effect? Do I have any booing? I got nothing. I only have positive sound effects. What do I got here? There we go. That's the best I got. I got the crickets. But still, this is a better card. What, you gotta tap out for this thing? Yeah, you gotta tap out for this thing. No one's gonna do that in 2022. Get out of here. Boulder with the super chat. Vampire. Oh, yeah, that's a really big one for the vampire players. Vampire Nighthawk. And the Nighthawk. Actually, Nighthawk Scavenger. So, hold on. Just out of curiosity, to the commander players, like this was a commander all-star, right? Everyone had to play their Vampire Nighthawk. But like, does everyone play this card? Is this just a mandatory include for every single person who ever played Vampire Nighthawk? And do you play them together? I mean, this is the same damn thing, except it can get way bigger. 1 plus the number of card types among cards in your opponent's graveyards. I mean, that has to be enormous. It's Chungus says, also Nikachu, I got a bunch of pain lands on the low recently. I want to play them in Modern. I felt they were reasonable. They are very unreasonable. But I tell you where you can play your pain lands. You can actually play your pain lands in Pioneer. Because the man in Modern is just way too good. And the pain lands will bring pain to you more than to your opponent. But actually they're very reasonable. They're somewhat reasonable in Pioneer. Anyway, no one plays no commander players here to verify how Nighthawk Scavenger has completely replaced Vampire Nighthawk. I remember like Fusion Gaming had this gigantic wad of Vampire Nighthawks for people. You want Vampire Nighthawk? Here you go. Here for $1. Get your Vampire Nighthawks for $1. Got $1? Here's a Vampire Nighthawk for you. Here's a Vampire Nighthawk for you. They were stocked up on Vampire Nighthawk. I saw the inventory. It was in the case, in this little box. Okay, Calantera says Jin Gataxia's Core Augur was the best creature to reanimate until it was completely obsolete. Oh, that's interesting. So Grizzlebrand lost some market share to Jin Gataxias lost some market share. Jin Gataxias. The Core Augur. The OG Jin Gataxias. This was a nightmare at the time. Blue, 8 generic, flash at the beginning of your end step. Draw 7 cards. I mean, that was the Grizzlebrand of the time, right? Each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by 7. So now so I'm the Grizzlebrand, and also you're getting reverse Grizzlebranded. Its maximum hand size is reduced by 7. So it's basically Sire of Insanity and a Grizzlebrand. They have a love child. That's Jin Gataxias. But of course, Grizzlebrand is just better. Whoops. Let's get the Grizzle Daddy here. Because you get to draw the cards immediately. You don't have to wait a turn. You don't have to pass the turn. You just get yourself 7 cards. All right, got a Grizzlebrand. Oh, I'm going to take myself some 7 cards. Also has some lifelink. Lifelink and evasion. Nothing wrong with that. Just play Eldrazi in Modern. You take no pain from the Pain lands. Yeah, you could do that. Pain land's good in Modern for F and M. I think you can just play the Pathways if you really have to. Shortnader says, Nighthawk Scavenger. Let's get back to the Nighthawk Scavenger. Oh, I lost it. It fits way better in non-vampire commander decks. Also, there are more than enough vampires to not need the Vampire Nighthawk. So you're telling me the days of the Vampire Nighthawk are dead? The Nighthawk Scavenger. Igor says, I never played any Nighthawks. Who would? Lightning Bolt to Shock isn't power creep. Yeah, it's the opposite, actually. I mean, depends on the format. It depends on the format. Maybe Modern at one point didn't have Lightning Bolt. No, I think Modern, when it came into existence, Lightning Bolt already existed. Oh, we got Garrett with the Garrett Gerbil, Pygmy Hippo. We just want me to show you. You want me to show everyone the hippo? What did this get downgraded by? I don't even know what this card does. Phyrexian. I don't think Phyrexian Negator was played in any format that got replaced by Obliterator. Is the problem? Is that it? Like, what are we losing? We're losing cards here. No one know. Okay, we all know what upgraded, right? Just think of cards that we upgraded to, and then start thinking backwards. What did it replace? Like a direct replacement, because I think there were a lot of direct replacements. Brazen Bar replaced Kleek. I do know what I would say, at least from my personal experience. Petty Theft replaced like Echoing Truth. You know, there's always some bounce spell in my inventory, but then, you know, Echoing Truth, blue 1 generic, return target non-land permanent and all other permanents with the same name as that permanent to their owner's hands. Some decks played stuff like this. I mean, still some decks play Echoing Truth, especially combo decks. I need to, like, bounce all of one particular type of card. Like, if you have 4 Grafdigger's Cages on the battlefield. But, I actually use Petty Theft as my go-to bounce spell. Because it's just better. Like, how often am I going to bounce several things? So we return target non-land permanent to an opponent controls to its owner's hand. Whatever. It was basically this most of the time. But you also got a 3/1 flash flyer on top of it. Oster Command into Farewell. Oster Command. I don't even know what this is. Oh! Farewell. That's right. All right. Yeah. Who needs all that stuff when you got Farewell? So Farewell, white, 4 generic, choose 1 or more. Exile all artifacts, all creatures, all enchantments, all graveyards. And I have to say, cards like this confuse AI big time when they're making their own cards. It's like, whoa, we can have multiple modes? Yeah, let's do all of this. All right. And then Oster Command used to be choose 2, destroy all artifacts, all enchantments. Hold on, is this new? Which one's newer? Oh no, this is the newer one. This is just choose 1 or more, so you can choose all of them. You can wipe all the artifacts, creatures, enchantments, and graveyards. Back in the day, Oster command was you could only choose 2. Artifacts, enchantments, creatures with mana value 3 or less, or creatures with mana value 4 or greater. So you only if you chose 2, you basically had a 6 mana board wipe. Yeah, Farewell is the newer one. Dick would use Farewell, but my deck has too many graveyard synergies. Well, you don't have to choose graveyard. It says 1 or more. It doesn't say choose all. Just say enchantments, creatures, artifacts. Just ignore the graveyard part. Simple as that. Alabaster Leech and Staunch Shieldmate. Alabaster Leech. I don't know all these cards. And Staunch Shieldmate? The hell is all this stuff? I'm getting trolled here. This is a complete crap card. They didn't get replaced by nothing. Oh, we got Flo Nino. Ghost Quarter and Field of Ruin. That's a great one, actually. Ghost Quarter used to see a lot more play than it does now. Ghost. Oh, and you know what? Also, Tectonic Edge. Okay, so Field of Ruin is basically the de facto card that we use these days, at least in Modern, to get rid of non-basic lands. And they have like another one, right? It's like the exact same thing, but not Field of Ruin, and it's just not each. They made it for Commander so that each opponent. I don't know if it's Modern legal though. I can't remember. Sacrifice Field of Ruin. Destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls. Each player searches their library for a basic land card, puts it onto the battlefield, then shuffles. But also, so we got rid of, replaced Ghost Quarter in a big way. Because how do you get rid of those non-basic lands? Well, you got to do it the old-fashioned way, like Ghost Quarter. You can add mana, or you can sack it, destroy target land. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped. Or use Tectonic Edge. Now, Tectonic Edge, you can only destroy lands if an opponent controls 4 or more lands. Destroys non-basic lands for 1 mana. You gotta sack the Tectonic Edge. It was great. A little awkward though sometimes because like against Tron or any deck that needed a lot of mana, you need to disrupt their mana early with Ghost Quarter. But this was parity. Ghost Quarter that gave them a land. It was not a feel-good moment. Dreadmog got replaced by Carnage Tyrant. Is that true? I think that's a bunch of nonsense. Oh, that's a good one. Yes, let's Hall of... That's crazy. Hall of Storm Giants. You just need to have that land out early. It's the Battle of the Creature Lands. So, it's the Colonnade. Can't remember how to spell Colonnade. 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 There we go. So back in the day, Control players of all sorts, they played their Celestial Colonnade, and they were happy with it. It was a good time back then. Sure, it entered the battlefield tapped, but it wasn't unreasonable to activate. It became a 4/4 flying creature with vigilance. So you could activate it, block, and still have mana up for your counterspells and Path to Exiles. But these days, people just prefer it to be much more simple. Also, Hall of Storm Giants can just get slotted into more decks. And the fact that it comes into play untapped on turns 1 and 2, huge boost to the control decks. Big, 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 big boost. Unholy Heat replaced Shock? Since when did we play Shock? But you know what? I think hey, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Unholy Heat, I think it's taken up a lot of market share from Lightning Bolt. I'm not sure. Is there a site that we can go to confirm this? Well, it's like mtgtop8.com. Just want to know if it shows us like the most popular cards in Modern. Where can we find, like, oh, here we are, most played cards. Okay, I'm wrong. Lightning Bolt is still king at 47%. But I think in some decks, Lightning Bolt is like a 3 of, because Unholy Heat is a 4 of. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong. Oh yeah, it's true. Play with Fire, replace Shock. in Pioneer. You got our Play with Fire. Deals 2 damage to any target. If a player is dealt damage this way, you scry 1. So it's just superior to Shock. It's only deal 2 damage. Bolt is mostly played in Burn and Tempo now. Unholy Heat has taken that spot in the control decks. I think I agree. But then I go to the meta share. Okay, I think Lightning Bolt has just taken has been downgraded. Not completely obsolete. The show isn't about like cards that are completely dead. It's about being downgraded. And Unholy Heat did downgrade Lightning Bolt. Because, you know, Lightning Bolt doesn't kill Primeval Titan. Lightning Bolt cries when it sees this card. You think you're gonna kill Lightning? You're gonna think you're gonna Lightning Bolt and kill a Primeval Titan? No, you're just gonna piss it off. That's all. Unholy Heat doesn't target players. No, it targets gigantic things you can't kill otherwise. Someone's got to kill those Murktides. Lightning Bolt goes face, so Unholy Heat can't replace it in at least... Yeah, it's not going to replace it in Burn. 333. Spiritmonger was so strong in my old day, but now there are plenty of stronger creatures. It's true. Shout out to Spiritmonger. I remember when the community made this card. This was a community-made card. And I thought it was such a waste as a blue player. Ugh, they made this gigantic 5-mana ugly stupid thing. Becomes a color of your choice until end of turn. Who cares? When did Tragic Slip when was that even playable outside of Commander? Tragic Slip. Like, I don't think anything played this card, especially in Modern or any other format. Duress was downgraded by Thoughtseize and literally every other... Oh, that's true. Duress. I mean, this card still sees play in some formats that, you know, like Pioneer. Sorry, not Pauper. Because you can't play with the rares. Thoughtseize just made so many other cards so obsolete. Sometimes it fights for space with Inquisition of Kozilek, though, because if you're not willing to take so much damage, then you might want to go the Inquisition of Kozilek range. But at the same time, yeah, Thoughtseize and the Inquisition of Kozilek basically just ripped cards like Duress to shreds. Opponent reveals hand. Choose non-creature, non-land card. Especially by today's standards, everything is a creature. You could literally Duress a control player these days and have nothing to hit. It's possible. You'll see like Fury, Omnath, 2 Solitudes, 3 lands, and be like, well, I guess I whiffed. That's magic sometimes. You could also whiff on Inquisition of Kozilek now that I think about it. Inquisition, Omnath, Fury, Solitude. Well, okay, I guess I choose nothing. Gurmag Angler and Tassiger. That's true. PM's on fire today. So Murktide just became like the de facto Delve spell these days. Flying, enters the battlefield with counters on it for each instant or sorcery exiled with it. So it's just a big creature. It can become 6/6, 7/7, and then as you exile, whenever an instant or sorcery spell leaves your graveyard, you put a counter on it. But in the old days, we played with Tassiger. Tassiger was our Delve spell, right? We wanted to pay 1 black and exile and put a 4/5 creature in play, and you could also, you know, get more. It was card advantage because you could activate it with its ability and put 2 cards from the top of 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then a non-land card of your opponent's choice was put from your graveyard to your hand. And also, Gurmag Angler saw tons of play, and they're gone. These actually not just downgraded. I mean, they're just straight dead. They're just gone. Who the hell plays with Gurmag Angler today? Did these even see play in Legacy either? Like, this was a Legacy card as well. Huge Legacy All-Star in the 5-color or 4-color Delver decks. Big card. Fireburn with the super chat. Third Path Iconoclast replaced by... Third Path Iconoclast replaced by... Oh, you mean replaced. So, yeah, no, you said replaced by Young Pyromancer. I have a question. Like, okay, Young Pyromancer is a dead card. Nobody plays this card anymore. It just got got power creeped away by other win conditions. So how is this going to change anything? Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token. So the advantage is you get artifacts, and maybe that will be useful in an artifact deck of some sort. This was a 1/1 red elemental. They're basically the same thing, but this is harder to cast. Like, I don't see it. I just don't get it. Makes artifacts. So what? Yeah, I know it makes artifacts. Angler is good in Pauper. Oh, Angler still has a home in Pauper. There you go, Angler. People still love you in Pauper. Pauper Delver. I saw the deck lists. Yeah, Pauper Angler still has a place to live. Yeah, in Legacy, Delver got kicked by Ragavan. And then it came back. The moment Ragavan gets banned, it comes back. So Ragavan shows up. See, that just shows, like, Delver is, like, on the verge of dying in Legacy to, like, any other better creature for 1 mana. Anyway, yeah, Ragavan just pushed it out. Get out of here. You could also blame Dragon Rage Chandler as well. 1 mana cards that hope to take over the game. What happened to Dredge? Graveyard hate. Tons and tons of graveyard hate. Graveyard hate everywhere. Okay, we got Jason with Necrotal, the Ravenous Chupacabra. Necrotal. The Ravenous Chupa... Oops, I spelled Ravenous wrong. I fixed it. Okay, we got our Chupacabra. The 2/2 enters the battlefield, destroy target creature an opponent controls. So what does Necrotal do? It's got first strike! Enters the battlefield, destroy target non-artifact, non-black creature. That creature can't be regenerated. Hold on, which one? What was the greater or lesser than sign? I missed it. Yeah, Chupacabra is better. This just destroys any creature. If you play the creature, it'd be dead. It'd be dead. Well, I have a question for anyone. Was Fatal Push... So someone said Fatal Push replaced Tragic Slip. Was this like a popular Commander card? I would imagine Tragic Slip still might be better than Fatal Push in Commander, but I'm not sure. I like this one by Tomini. Boseiju outclassed Forests. So we used to have Forest, and that got downgraded by Boseiju, because why not? It's basically a forest, plus it does other things. I saw this was a nice one. Space Cowboy. Assassin's Trophy is greater than Abrupt Decay. Well, not necessarily, like, strictly superior, but Assassin's Trophy, when it came around, it said, hey, Abrupt Decay, I need some space too. And so people had to start moving down some slots in Abrupt Decay. So Assassin's Trophy is destroy any permanent an opponent controls. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card. Not entirely a strict upgrade, but definitely took some slots away from the Abrupt Decay range, you know? If you had enough room for black and green cards, well, hey, gotta move aside, because you can't destroy anything that's 4 more. Also, you can't destroy lands. This thing blows up lands. Your Tron land, your, I don't know. I guess they might have blown up some stuff from Amulet, but maybe not. Yeah, I can hit like Urza Saga, I guess. Matt with Altars Reap replaced by Village Rites. Altars Reap? Village Rites. Oh yeah, Village Rites. You people love your Village Rites. An additional cost to cast the spell, sack a creature, draw 2 cards. Oh, you have to pay 2 mana at one time for the same effect? As additional cost to cast. You still have to sack a creature and draw 2 cards. Snap upgrade. The people who were playing Altars Reap when Village Rites got printed, like, no way! No way! R.I.P. Nantuko Shade. Whether that got replaced. I don't think that saw play anywhere outside of like standard at the time. Gregory with the super chat. Primeval Force is a direct upgrade from Wood Elemental. Can't think of better. Can't think of two better cards in MTG. Primeval Force. I don't know what some of these cards are. Oh, this did it upgrade Wood Elemental? Where's Wood Elemental? This was like a reserve list card. There's a battlefield. Sacrifice any number of untapped forests. So for those green players back in the day, for those kitchen tabletop players, you got Primal Force. You don't have... Oh, comes into play. Sack it unless you sacrifice 3 forests. Oh, god damn it. We're still sacrificing forests. Wood Elemental's power is toughness are each equal to the number of forests sacrificed as it entered the battlefield. Oh yeah, this is way worse. Prefer the Primeval Force. Assert your power, green players. Green pony kitchen tabletop players. Zex with a super chat. Path to Exile or Mana Leak. Yeah, we talked about both those today. But thanks for the super chat. Oh, this is a great one. Leyline of the Void got replaced by a damn creature. The Dothy Voidwalker. So, so long as the Leyline of the Void's on the battlefield, cards that go into your opponent's graveyard get exiled. Excellent. But you need to have this in your opening hand, otherwise it's a little clunky. Then Dothy Voidwalker comes around. A lot of people are just asking, what happened to the dredge decks? Well, this dickhole. And this goes into scam decks. There's a lot of decks that can play Dothy Voidwalker. And it's an unblockable creature. Excellent card, really. And you can actually play random cards exiled with it. Goblin Guide. No, Goblin Guide. There's only one deck that plays Goblin Guide, and it's Burn. And then they still play Goblin Guide. Say Frogify is better than Prison in the Moon came after Frogify, though, right? Oh no, Frogify is a different card. I'm sorry, I was thinking of something else. Throne of Eldraine. So Frogify replaced Imprison in the Moon. What a weird card. Imprison in the Moon! Channel a creature, land, or planeswalker. It's a little bit different, though, because you can hit planeswalkers. This thing only hits creatures. Not quite the same thing. Good god. Squee Goblin the Bob beats Squee the Immortal, beats Squee Dubious Monarch. Slowly over time. I mean, maybe this is true story. You know, we don't see so many stony silences in, like, even just the modern, like, the metagame overall, because Karn the Great Creator does a good enough job. Karn the Great Creator. You could also argue that Karn the Great Creator just, like, pushed out artifact decks, so you be careful, you artifact decks. So the moment you're up against a Karn the Great Creator deck, you screwed! You absolutely screwed. Activated abilities of artifacts your opponent's control can't be activated. Stony Silence is like, everyone, nobody can activate nothing. Fireburn's like, Jace the Mind Sculptor. Thanks for the super chat. Got replaced by Oko. Well, Jace, you know, Jace the Mind Sculptor got replaced by Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, which then got replaced by Oko. Everything got replaced. Basically, all cards got downgraded to Oko. If you played anything in if you played any deck, your deck got downgraded to Oko at the time. I mean, that's why they had to ban the damn thing. Everyone was playing Oko. I think in every format, there would be like one deck that didn't play Oko. This is, but we're talking about, this isn't about what replaced. We talk about what got replaced. What else do we have here? Oh, PM with Archmage. You know what? That actually is true. Threads of Disloyalty used to see a lot of play. I love cards like this. Blue, 1 generic. Yoink! Your 2-drop! Yoink! It's mine now. So for anyone who loves treachery-like effects, in like Threads of Disloyalty saw some good competitive play, but then like Archmage's Charm was just basically better. I mean, it had the fault that you can't steal like, but no one plays 2-drops anymore, right? This is mostly like 1-drops. So you can counter spells, you can draw cards, you can steal their Dragon Rage Channeler. Steal the 1-drops. So there's enough 1-drops that this is just basically useful. Soul Ring is better. I don't think Soul Ring ever replaced anything. It was just always around. The what is Worn Power Stone though? Worn Power. Soul Ring, by the way, is Soul Ring is an OG card. My deck wasn't downgraded. It was turned into a 3/3 elk. Dave Inspiration. Arrest is worse than Intercessor's Arrest. Now hits Planeswalkers. Is that important commander interaction? Arrest? Well, it's a 30-cent common, so I imagine this could be popular. It's been printed a million times. Enchant Creature. Enchant Creature can't attack or block. Its activated abilities can't be activated. Isn't there like a million cards like this? Intercessor's Arrest. Enchant Permanent! So I can enchant a land. Enchant Permanent can't attack, block, or crew vehicles, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So you can still hit the Urza Saga. Flo Nino! Yes, thank you very much for the super chat. Force of negation for many counterspells. Yeah, but what is the counterspell? See, this isn't a show about the upgrades. This is a show about the downgrades. Force of negation. I will say, personally, it replaced a lot of spell pierces. Because this is the same thing, right? You pay 1 blue, counter target non-creature spell unless they pay 2. But in this case, it's just a hard counter. I'm definitely countering that non-creature spell. No matter how much mana you have. Which is awkward. Alright, so it replaced the spell pierces. But you don't see that many spell pierces these days. I mean, it's still around, but you might as well have force negation. The hell is this? Creeron, Dryad, Plane Shift, and Deep Root Champion Ixalan? Like, but in what format did they get replaced in? Commander? I'm familiar with the cards. I guess if you were building a deck around these types of cards, you might as well play Deep Root Champion. Or probably you would play both. Creeron Dryad, by the way, whenever you cast a spell that's white, blue, black, or red, put a counter on it. Deep Root Champion. Whenever you just cast a non-creature spell, put counters on this damn thing. Gregory with the super chat. First Sliver replaced Sliver Overlord as commander. Great example. First Sliver. The Sliver players were just... They almost creamed their pants when they saw this thing. This thing cascades? Sliver spells have cascades? That's insane. And the Sliver Overlord used to be the... Would it be fair to say Sliver Overlord also replaced... Or maybe not replace Sliver Queen. Maybe when Commander came into existence, they were both around. Because otherwise, like, Sliver Queen is sort of a lame commander. You might as well play Sliver Overlord. The 7/7. You need to, if you're playing Slivers, you gotta be 5 mana. You can't be less than 5 mana. Pay 3, search a library for a Sliver card, reveal that card, and put it into your hand. Oh yeah. Sliver players were like, Alright, boys and girls, we don't put things in our hands anymore. We're putting them directly onto the battlefield. Go straight into play. Completely upgraded. What was the other ability? Gain control of target Sliver. That's lame. You don't need that. Just take my Sliver if you want my Sliver. Whatever. I have infinite Slivers. No big deal. David J with the super chat. Raging Goblin versus Fervent Champion. 1 ability versus 4. Yes, but what? But there was never a format, right? Like, how long ago did you play Raging Goblin? Look at that Raging Goblin. Looks like it came from a fan-made site, this arena-looking card. Hey, what do you want, Fervent Champion? And maybe there was a format, I don't know. In every format that I know Fervent Champion was legal, Raging Goblin just didn't really matter. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was arena upgrade. We have Fervent Champion now. Screw Raging Goblin. Could be the truth. Dispel was replaced somehow. Yeah, that's a good point. People used to play Dispel, and now I think this is one of those cards that got replaced by Force Negation. But that's true. Like, Force Negation just washed a lot of these counter-target instant or sorcery or non-creature spell counterspells. Raging Goblin was a common, Fervent Champion is a rare, big difference. That's okay. We replace our common cards with rare cards all the time. Just look at Ragavan. Look at all the cards that got downgraded because of Ragavan. We don't play them anymore. Cyclonic Rift. Dictate of Karametra. Oops. Greater than Mirari's Wake? I'm not familiar with both of these cards. Creatures you control get +1/+1 whenever you tap a land for mana. Add 1 mana of any type that land produced. So we double our mana. And Dictate of Karametra, what does this do? Oh, it has Flash. Whenever a player taps a land for mana, that player adds 1 mana to his or her mana pool of any type that land produced. But everyone gets to play with this. This is symmetrical. This one's not. This is... Oh, you're saying this one got replaced. This Mirari's Wake replaced the old one, but this is an old card. I don't know what replaced what, but Mirari's Wake looks better to me. But this one has Flash. I guess you just flash it in play and you just go off on your turn. A Johnny replaced by Phyrexia. Hedron Crab was replaced by Insolent Neonate in Modern Dredge. I don't think Hedron Crab... No, Hedron Crab was never played in Dredge. Hedron Crab was played in Hogak. It's a completely different deck. There is a separate, like, Vengevine Hogakless deck. I guess it's just more of like a Vengevine deck now that Hedron Crab is played, and still is played in that deck. Some people call it, yeah, Crabvine. It's just a very different deck. Evacuation kicked. Oh, this is a great one. Evacuation. The old way to bounce everything in Commander. That's really old school. Return all creatures to their owner's hands. Now, Cyclonic Rift. I'm sure there was a bunch of other bounce spells that just got washed. Like, why would you choose any other mass bounce spell other than Cyclonic Rift at this point? And also, it's easier to tutor for Cyclonic Rift. Can't we transmute for this thing? With not Talaria West. Muddle the Mixture, I think? Yeah, transmute. Discard this card. Search your library for a card with the same converted mana cost as this card. Reveal it, put it into your hand. Play it as a sorcery. So you can transmute for Cyclonic Rift. Not easy to transmute for Evacuation. Thragtusk got replaced by Werewolf Pack Leader / Defiler of Vigor. Werewolf Pack Leader. Is this true? In what? These are completely different cards. This is just completely different cards. I could say that Thragtusk got replaced by something, but I don't know what. This card used to see a lot more play. It's usually a standard all-star. People still play this card in Commander? Thragtusk still see play there? Sunder and Upheaval. Sunder. I don't even know what Sunder is. Return all lands to its owner's hand. Oh, way back in the day. But Upheaval... Isn't Upheaval banned in Commander? So we have to go back to Sunder. Okay, Thragtusk got pushed by the Blitz Rhino and Titan of Industry. Is Blitz Rhino the actual name? No. Titan of Industry. So Titan of Industry, Elemental, Reach, Trample. When Titan of Industry enters the battlefield, choose 2. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Target player gains 5 life. That gonna be you. And create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token and put a shield counter on a creature you control. You get a lot for your 7 mana. Yeah, I could totally see that being replacing Thragtusk. I could totally see that. Michael Paris, I said eventually RL will be so expensive. Insurance companies will say can't shuffle cards. Proxies are needed. I guess so. If you can get your stuff insured at all. Does anyone have their collection accurately insured? It means you had to get it appraised. They like to know how expensive those cards are. Workshop War Chief. That could be a video. What happened to Thragtusk? 5 mana for a 5/3 trample. Enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. Oh yeah. When it dies, oh yeah. That's a better Thragtusk. And it's got Blitz. This is like better in almost every way, except you don't get as much life. And they're both worthless. There's just no room for Thragtusk anymore. Welcome, Hedgie. That Shep, though, really trying to... Cranko Mob Boss is better than Crank... Okay, so we have Cranko Mob Boss. I imagine you would still play both of them if you were playing Cranko Tin Street. The Tin Street Kingpin. Why would you play a different one, though? Whenever Cranko Tin Street Kingpin attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it, then create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to Cranko's power. Or are you saying this is the old garbage one? Yeah, but isn't this the new one? Cranko Mob Boss is the old one, so it didn't really... It didn't replace anything. This is just literally the better Cranko, and it was printed earlier. Yeah. What happened to Thragtusk? We just choose a random card, and you guys have to explain it. What happened to Savannah Lions? Well, it just wasn't printed anymore after that. The stream is making us reverse engineer our answer like Jeopardy. Yeah. What happened to Cranko Mob Boss? My boy Nantuko Shade was replaced by Misery Shadow. Nantuko Shade. Was this played in anything recently, though? I mean, we know Misery Shadow is actually being played right now in Pioneer. It is funny, though. When I saw this card in Pioneer, I'm like, how could this be good? I think Nantuko Shade is a bunch of garbage. Sure, it's just a 2/1 creature for 2 mana. And it's such a mana sink to pay mana and make it bigger. This is the same damn thing. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. That's a big difference, though. So it's got like a little bit of semi Leyline of the Void thing going on over here. Gideon Jura was so good years ago. Jace Mind Sculptor into Fairy said, hello! Yeah, replace those planeswalkers. Well, I guess that's it. Whoops, what am I doing here? I guess that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. We do this Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. So if you want to help us find cards that got downgraded, or whatever the topic is of today, you got to be there. Thank you very much for your super chats. Thanks everyone for contributing and supporting the channel. That's why I do Coffee and MTG every single day. Your super chats make sure I'm in this seat. Every day I wake up. I go straight down. I turn on my computer. We get Coffee and MTG going on. It's a great way to start the day. But thank you, everyone, for showing up every single day for Coffee and MTG. Because without you guys, I'm worthless. I am nothing. I bow thee to the coffee crew. I am not worthy. Because you guys are the real show. So as usual, keep brewing up those coffees, coffee crew, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.